What's good, my people? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to show you how you can build that demon back. With calisthenics, body weight, whatever you want to call it, a couple simple exercises that you can perform literally anywhere. Even if you don't have the equipment I have, obviously you can substitute and still make it happen. But at the end of the day, we're going to get those back gains. We're going to be looking like an anime character at the end of it. So let's get straight into it. Now, if you're just getting into exercise or it's your first time performing calisthenics, then this is obviously going to be the go-to exercise to start off with. It's going to be bodyweight rows, but we're going to start off in a pretty much upright position. Obviously you won't have the back strength enough to do, you know, all the other back exercises just yet. So if you're just starting off, fresh rookie, newbie, beginner, I want you to start off with these rows. Now, you don't have to have a setup like this. You can literally use a door frame, a pole, anything just to make it happen. So we're going to start off with the rows here. We're going to make sure that we're squeezing at the top, coming back down in a nice controlled manner. Now, for some of you this may be very difficult, for others this might be easy. However, depending on your fitness level will depend on how you continue to perform. So you may need to either continue to do this until you build up the back strength, or you may have to progress into a more difficult position. So if you do have enough back strength to perform it like that, what we're going to do is we're going to bring our legs further forward. This is going to put more stress on the back, and we're going to have to move more body weight that way. So again, if you're a fresh beginner, you want to start here and just build up the back strength initially. As you get stronger and stronger, you want to move your feet further and further forward. You may have to adjust the bar so it still is hitting the lower part of your chest, but just for the purpose of this video, I'm going to keep the bar in the same position, and you just play with your feet and body angle. The angle of your body is going to determine how hard or how easy the exercise is. So once you've got the upright position down, the way you can progress this exercise even further is to bring your body parallel to the ground and place your foot on a bench, and that's going to allow you to pull more body weight, and your back is going to have to do more work. Now, some things to take note of. One, we want our body nice and straight. We don't want our lower back sagging down. We want to make sure that we're engaging the core, we're engaging the lower back, all the things that's going to allow our body to be exactly parallel from the ground. And the next thing we want to make sure is that our palms are facing away from us. We're not trying to work the biceps this much, we're trying to work the back, so the palms facing forward and your bench is a good distance away from you, and you're just bringing your chest to the bar and controlling the descent. Don't allow your body to fling back down. You want to make sure that you're controlling the lowering phase and the upper phase as well, and you're going to get the best out of this movement. Now again, if you don't have this set up, you could always put two chairs either side and just put a broom, a bar, anything across them, enable to perform the movement still. And if you don't have a bench, use a chair, sofa, anything you can find, books. That's going to allow you to raise your feet. Now, speaking of the bench, how high or how low the bench will also determine how difficult the movement is. So if you've got a lower bench, it's going to be easier. If you've got a higher bench, it's obviously going to be harder. So if you don't have a bench, you can always put your feet on the ground while still performing this movement right here. And to make it harder, you can put your feet straight and perform it just like that. So many options that you can do to get the best out of this movement. As you get stronger and stronger, you want to make the movement more difficult, you can start to add weight. Now, a weighted vest is probably the best option. If you don't have that, you can always just grab a weight plate. It's not the most stabilizing object you could use, but it's still going to get the job done. You just place it on your chest like so, and you continue to get the rows in. But that is only if you have made reasonable progress in doing the bodyweight rows. So if you can do 10, 15 with good quality, I would probably say move on, but probably more so to the 10 side. Now, if you don't have a bar, but you have access to gymnastic rings, or you want to purchase some gymnastic rings, which are fairly reasonable when it comes to price, you can also perform the rows with gymnastic rings as well. So you just set your rings up and you can just row here. Now this is a little easier on the wrists because it does allow you to turn them out. So if you're having wrist problems, you may have to use rings instead, and it does allow for a more freely movable you know what I mean. And if you wanted to focus on a bit more isolation, what you can do is just use one ring at a time. So here, and you just pulling yourself up, focusing on bringing your chest up to the ring, and that's going to allow you to isolate each side of the back at once. But again, that's a progression if you have found that bodyweight rows has become too easy for you. Now we're finally onto the king of all back exercises, the pull-up. Now there's so many different ways that you can do this. However, any sort of pull-up is going to help to develop the back. So I would encourage a wider grip just so the lats do get a bit more work. But depending on your fitness level, your skill level right now, you may have to do a narrow grip, or maybe a hammer grip or a neutral grip, or even a very close grip. Obviously the biceps get more involved when the palms either here or here. However, if that's all that you can do right now, then do it. Still going to get the back work in. So when we're doing our pull-ups, we want to make sure that we're getting our chin over the bar, bare minimum, you know, no foreheads, chin over the bar. At the very minimum, it should be right here, but none of this, that don't count. We want the chin over the bar. And we're pulling, we want to make sure that it's the back doing the majority of the work. So we want to limit momentum. So we don't really want to have too much swing down here. We're not trying to do a muscle up, we're focused on the pull up. So we want to imagine that our body is moving in a slightly diagonal line. So obviously we can clear the bar. So when we're coming up, it's there, and the back controlled. At the end of the day, the more control you have, the better you're going to get from the movement. So if we were to do a neutral or a hammer grip, same thing, nice and controlled. Now I believe in coming back into a dead hang, just so I know that the back is getting the full extent of the work. You don't have to come to a complete dead hang if you don't want to, but we want to make sure that we're working in a decent range of motion. Coming halfway down is not acceptable. So we'll go back to, we'll work with this grip here. So when we're coming up, you can come to here. I think here is acceptable, and then come back up, because I know a lot of people are going to struggle with the lower part of the portion, especially when you're just getting into pull-ups. Getting out from that dead hang is probably one of the hardest part. The dead hang to the mid part, getting out of that is probably the hardest part for a lot of people. However, focusing on doing it correctly is going to bring about the best results. So when we're focused on the pull-up, we're making sure that we're getting the best out of the movement. Now numbers don't matter in the beginning compared to form. Making sure your form is correct, making sure the back is doing the work. Obviously the arms are getting involved as well, but we want to make sure the back is what is getting developed from the pull-up. Now if you can't do pull-ups, there's a lot of different options that you can use to still develop your back in some way. So for example, if you want to work on eccentrics, you can bring yourself over the bar, lower yourself down slowly, reset, and that's going to help with that eccentric phase, the lengthening phase of the back, which is going to help to develop the back. And that's if you can't do pull-ups. So now you can even do those if you do, let's say, a set of 5, you want to get some more but you can't get yourself up, just do some eccentrics at the end, and that's that. Another option is isometrics as well. So isometrics is literally just holding yourself in a fixed position. You can jump up, but for the purpose of this video, we'll just start here, or you can go here, or you can even go all the way up here. Now with those, that's going to keep the muscle in a constant state of contraction. So if you find that there's a portion of your pull-up which is weak, we can now start to focus on that part. So let's say here is the weakest part of our pull-up. We can set up and we can just hold some isos there to build up some of that muscle endurance, get used to holding that position, and that's going to help us in our overall pull-up. Now if you have the equipment available, you can use a resistance band to help you get the pull-up or some extra reps in. Maybe you can place it around your knee, the bottom of your foot, however you want to do them, it's up to you. You can place both knees in there depending on how strong you are, and you're just able to pull with the resistance band. Now I would ideally start off with the heaviest band that is at your disposal and then work from there, and then gradually work to a lighter band until you don't need it, or you know, it's not necessary anymore. But a band is a great option to help you get more reps in, focus on the technique, the form, and also get some more back gains at the same time. Once you get reasonably good at body weight pull-ups, you can start to do things like weighted pull-ups. So you can put a weight belt on, a weighted vest, anything like that, and just carry on doing some reps. Now the best way to develop is obviously once you start to get to about 7-8 reps, increase the weight, and then you continue, but don't sacrifice your form fully just to go up in weight. You want to make sure that the form is good, then we focus on increasing the weight over time. But that's the best way that you're going to grow your back. So I'm just going to show you a few reps of what your set should ideally look like. And that's that. Want to make sure if you have the option to straighten your legs, make sure your core is nice and engaged, all that good stuff. But that is how you can grow your back with just body weight at home, the gym, wherever you want to go, the park, doesn't matter, still get the work in. Now even if you don't have a pull-up bar, there's always an option. So even if you just jump up here, you can still get your pull-ups in. At the end of the day, the choice is yours. You can either make excuses or you can find a way. But hope you enjoy watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll catch you on the next one. I'm out. Peace.